China and with other countries. That phone call will take place tonight. So if you have any questions, go ahead.
Mr. President, what have you been able to do to reassure South Korea given the recent tensions?
Assured as they can feel. Certainly they feel more reassured with me than they do with other presidents from the past, because nobody's really done the job that they're supposed to be doing. And that's why we're at this horrible situation right now. And it is a very bad situation. It's a very dangerous situation, and it will not continue, that I can tell you. So I think South Korea is very happy, and you don't mention Japan, but I think Japan is very happy with the job we're doing. I think they're very impressed with the job we're doing, and let's see how it turns out.
Were you being sarcastic from Russia?
In order to reduce our payroll, absolutely. I think you know that. I think you know that. We'll see. In fact, I was just speaking to the secretary, and we're talking about coming up with an answer. When, Rex? Tell me.
By September 1st.
By September 1st, we'll have a response. But we have reduced payroll very substantially, yes.
Mr. President, a lot of what can you tell us? What can you tell us?
You know what I can say? Hopefully it'll all work out. Okay? Nobody loves a peaceful solution better than President Trump, that I can tell you. Hopefully it'll all work out. But this has been going on for many years. Would have been a lot easier to solve this years ago before they were in the position that they're in. But we will see what happens. We think that lots of good things could happen, and we could also have a bad solution. But we think lots of good things can happen.
What would be the bad solution, sir?
I think you know the answer to that.
Tell us more, President, please. When you say bad solutions, are you talking about war? Is it war?
I think you know the answer to that.
Is Iran abiding by the nuclear agreement in your view?
Well, we have some pretty strong opinions, but I would say that they are certainly not abiding by the spirit of the agreement, and I'd go for really a further step. But I would say that the spirit of the agreement Iran is not abiding by. Absolutely.
Saying in that region, do you have the right
Examination, Peter, in a very short period of time as to Afghanistan. I've been looking at it. It's our longest war in history, 17 years. That's unacceptable. We will be making decisions, as you know very well. We're looking at that very closely. We talked about it a little bit today. We talked about Venezuela today also, by the way. Venezuela is a mess, a very dangerous mess and a very sad situation. But we talked about Venezuela also.
What have you done differently? What have you done to change the way you act, perhaps in the way that your White House acts?
Well, I think General Kelly has done a fantastic job. He's a respected person, respected by everybody, come together very nicely. And I have to say, I think probably, and I've gone through this, but I think very, very few presidents have done what we've done in a 6-month period. In business, whether it's a stock market, whether it's picking up $4 trillion in value with companies and equity, whether it's many things, including a Supreme Court justice, regulations being cut massively. I think it's 48 bills being passed in the I'm talking about legislature, not just executive orders. And we'll work now on tax reform cuts. We'll never stop working on, as you know, health care. That's also working, and we're working on other things, including infrastructure. We're going to have a very big infrastructure bill. So I think nobody's done, very rarely would I say that anybody's done. I'm not sure that anybody's done what we've done in a 6-month period. But I think that General Kelly has brought a tremendous, put something very special to the office of chief. I call him chief. He's a respected man. He's a 4-star from the Marines, and he carries himself like a 4-star from the Marines. And he's my friend, which is very important. I don't make anything of it. We should have had health care approved. He should have known that he had a couple of votes that turned on him, and that should have been very easy to handle, whether it's through the fact that you take away a committee chairmanship or do whatever you have to do. But what happened, in my opinion, last week is unacceptable. People have been talking about repeal and replace for 7 years, long before I ever decided to be doing what I'm doing. 7 years they've been talking repeal and replace, and it didn't happen. And not only didn't happen, it was a surprise. And it was a horrible surprise. And it was very unfair to the Republican Party and very unfair to the people of this country. So I was not impressed. Now, can he do good? I think so. I think we can do very well on taxes, cuts, reform. I think we're going to do well on infrastructure, and things will happen with respect to healthcare. And I think things will happen maybe outside of necessarily needing Congress, because there are things that I can do as president that will have a huge impact on healthcare. So you watch. They do. They will be very safe. Believe me, they will be very safe. And if anything happens to Guam, there's going to be big, big trouble in North Korea.
Have you ordered any change?
I don't talk about that. You know that. I'm not one that says we're attacking Mosul in 4 months. We do it or we don't do it. Yes. This isn't really for me a trip. You know, I stay out of Manhattan because it's so disruptive to go to Manhattan. Now, I will be going on Sunday night. I have meetings on Monday and Tuesday going to Manhattan. But I stay out because it's so disruptive. You know, all of my life, I mean my adult life, because I grew up in Queens, not in Manhattan. But during the time that I lived in Manhattan, whenever a president came in, it was very disruptive. And I think I'm probably more disruptive than any of them. So when they have to close Fifth Avenue, when they have to close 56th Street and many other streets, so I'm here for that reason. We're doing a tremendous amount of work. We're having, you know, large numbers of meetings, and I'm on the phone a lot. But I'm here for that reason. I would love to go to my home in Trump Tower, but it's very, very disruptive to do. Maybe election next day?
Well, I think it takes a combined message there if we're going to get effective movement out of the regime in North Korea, I think, to go. And so I think what the president's doing is trying to support our efforts by ensuring North Korea understands what the stakes are.
Speaking of the State Department right now, we've learned about regarding diplomats, American diplomats in Cuba. Who's responsible for the acoustic attack? Is it Cuba? Is it Russia? Who's to blame for that?
We've not been able to determine who is to blame. We do hope